Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and hello to any new viewers. Today what I'm looking at is fixing a hydraulic leak on my tractor. It's a 1986 John Deere 2140, so 36 years old and obviously not in the first flush of youth. Since I've had it, it's pretty much leaked like a sieve, and it's definitely one of those tractors where if there's no oil under it, there's no oil in it. Notwithstanding that, it has developed a larger leak the last day I was using it, and I must find it and fix it as it's losing quite a bit of oil above and beyond its normal drips and drops. My suspicion is that it's coming from one of the steel lines to the two remote hydraulic valves at the back end. So I'll start there and turn those remotes on and off until I spot something. Did this with a voiceover because the wind noise was quite severe outside, and what I found then after a while is I managed to spot the leak in underneath the back end, and it's on a corner of a steel line which is crossing over the pretty much the back axle of the tractor. So it's one of those repairs where getting the part out and back in will certainly take a whole lot longer than actually fixing or doing the repair itself. That's the way though, so better get to it. Right guys, we have the tractor pulled into the shop now, and I'll just go through and show you where we have to disconnect our various items from. The first one is just in here. This is where our brake and our line is. So we'll disconnect our quick release valve here at the front. We'll take off this brace here and disconnect that steel line from the back of that quick release mechanism. We'll go around the far side then, and should be able to see then just in here there's another brace holding on a number of steel lines. So basically the steel line goes over the back axle and bolted on there or braced on there, and then if we come around the side, what it's coming down to then is this chest valve here, and I think it's this top line. Either one of those four lines anyway, they're all fairly easy to get to. So for these, the braces and the connections onto the hydraulics, we should be able to worm it out then, or get it out fairly handy over the back axle. Got the pipe off eventually. Had to take off a few other bits and pieces like link arms, the hydraulic filler funnel, and the bracket that holds on the remotes here. Other bits and pieces then just to free up access, because it was a particularly well jointed pipe, as in many turns on it. We'll show you that in a minute. And just to be able to get it out over the arms here, linkages, etc, etc. It took a bit of work. I did turn the camera off because it was getting in my way, and there was a few choice words spoken here and there as well, which wouldn't be YouTube friendly to say the least. Now this is the pipe out on the bench, and as you can see it's a fairly convoluted form factor. Very difficult to get out in the end, with the amount of linkages, connections, piping, etc., etc. So this is effectively the orientation that it sits in the tractor. This connects onto the back of the quick release remote valve. This is where the leak is, goes over the back axle, down at the side of it, down the front of the axle, and then into the hydraulic valve chest, then at the front. So there was a point where I had to consider, would it be just easier to take off the cab to try and get this out? So I'm not looking forward to getting it back in. So anyway, now that it is out, what I have is two problems more than one. Obviously the first one is the leak, which we identified already, but the second one is that this pipe is actually quite collapsed here. So my plan is, and I didn't say this is a good plan, it's just a plan, is to try and heat this and then try and expand that back out by using what I have here is sort of a flexible piping or a coil of wire to use for cleaning drains or snaking drains, and this is 1/4 inch in diameter. The inside of the pipe is 3/8 or 10 mil, so this is 6.25 mil. The inside of the pipe is 10 mil, 1/4 inch, 3/8. So that should open it up a bit. I'm no expert in fluid dynamics, but I could certainly sort of identify that that's going to be a problem there when reducing flow, increasing pressure in the wrong areas. So what I'll do is I'll clamp this to the bench, heat it up carefully so as not to turn it into liquid altogether, and then try and expand that pinched corner there out to at least 1/4 inch, which would help a lot. I could theoretically replace this steel line with a normal flexible hydraulic line, but I'm trying to keep the tractor as sort of stock or original as possible. If this doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. The tractor isn't in use as a sort of a frontline tractor by any means. So what I can do is blank it off at an ultimate level, or I have other options as well, like replacing the hydraulic line, or just not using this particular direction of the remote valve. Right, so I'll clamp up, start to heat, see how we get on with expanding this, and when I have that expanded, if that works for me, what I'll do then is I'll braze the area where I've identified the leak. As it stands, it's not visible, and these pinhole leaks are like that. You have to sort of catch them in action, so to speak, because you won't be able to spot where a tiny little pinhole is. Now, that's our pipe brazed up, not the prettiest of brazes, but the area there that was leaking is sort of well covered. So what we'll do is let that cool down now, we'll give it a bit of a clean off, and then we'll start to reassemble. Now we have our hydraulic line straightened, fixed up and tested, so that'll sort of stop some of the heavier leaking from the tractor. Now thanks for watching, and if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, leave them down below. See you in the next video.